So our last unit of the semester is going to be on the principle of design emphasis. So this is your last sketchbook and you're going to have, almost a month to complete it. So go ahead and put your name and your hour on it for me. And then if you'll see, your sketchbook is not due until Friday, December 15th. And usually after a due date, you have an entire week to turn in an assignment. But unfortunately, because this is the end of the semester, you only have until that Monday to turn it in. So it's due Friday, December 15th, and then I will still accept it that Monday, which is December 18th. But then after that, I'm not accepting any work. So we have a lot to wrap up that last week of class. We're not working on anything. Monday is the last day that you're going to have in class to work on anything. So if you need to work on it that Monday, that's fine. Monday is going to be like a finish, get your grade and check day. You will have a substitute that day, so you're going to kind of be working independently, but just know that after Monday, December 18th, I'm not taking any work, okay? All right, so let's start with emphasis. Emphasis is the focal point of the design which captures the viewer's attention. Emphasis is the focal point of the design which captures the viewer's attention. So I need you to write the definition of emphasis in your sketchbook, and then I need you to color the word emphasis in a way that shows emphasis. So what I did is I colored the word emphasis gray, but I chose to color the letters H and A pink so that they are given emphasis and they stand out. And that's what draws your eye to the word, is your eye is drawn to the H and A. Okay, so you could do whatever you want to draw emphasis to a certain part of the word. So go ahead and pause this video, complete page 1, and then you can move on to page 2. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about emphasis. Okay, emphasis can be created in a piece of artwork by contrasting different elements. For example, if you have different sizes in an artwork, your eye is going to be drawn to the largest thing. So if you look at these squares, the largest squares, obviously what draws your eye, because the rest of them are not only the same size, but they're smaller. You could also show emphasis by using color. So the yellow triangle stands out because the rest are all pink. So this one is different from the others. You could also show emphasis by contrast. The light gray rectangle stands out because its contrast, or lightness or darkness of the rectangle, is different from the rest of the rectangles. And then position. Which one is closest to you? Does that draw your eye in? So here's an artwork by Alexander Calder called Saucers Skirting on a Planet. And you can kind of tell which spot was given emphasis in this painting because it is not only showing contrast because it's yellow, but it's a different shape. The rest of these are kind of flat, and this one is specifically round. If you look at this sculpture by Andy Goldsworthy, where's the emphasis coming from in this artwork? And then lastly, let's look at this painting by Wassily Kandinsky. So he actually uses a lot of like abstract things in his artwork. He uses a lot of lines, shape. He uses a lot of movement to move your eye around. But what is the one thing that stands out to you and why? Okay, so here's what you need to do on page 2. We're going to kind of do a review of the elements of art from 6th grade. Okay, so the first one is line, and you need to show emphasis using lines. So what you could do is you could draw different kinds of lines, and then you could have one line that is a different color or a different value. What I did is I drew straight lines, and then I had a curving line going down. So that one stands out because not only is it a different value, but it is a different weight. So it's also thicker, but it's also a different type of line. And then if you look at the shapes, how can you make a shape stand out? Well, I did this by color. So I have 2 blue rectangles, and then I have 1 yellow rectangle. Then you're going to show emphasis through form. So you actually have to draw 3D forms. So once again, I chose to use color here. So I have 2 that are green, and then I have 1 that's light blue, so that one stands out. Color. I decided to make all these rectangles the same color. They're all pink, and then I chose to have 1 that was bright yellow to stand out. Value is the lightness or darkness of a color, so you do have to use the same color here. So I have 3 circles that are pink. These 2 are lighter value, and this one is darker, so this one stands out. Space would mean how close an object is to you or how far away. So these two triangles are further away. This one's closer, so that one is the one your eye is drawn to. And then the last one is texture. These two at the top are smooth. The one at the bottom has texture, so it stands out. So go ahead and pause the video on page 2, and this one should take you a little bit longer. I don't want to see really sloppy work, so make sure you take your time a little bit and show emphasis for each of these elements of art. And the last one I believe that you have to do today is you're going to show emphasis a couple other ways. Okay, so I went ahead and provided you with these circles. And what you're going to do is you're going to choose something that you learned from this and all of these other things to show emphasis to one of these circles. So here's an example. You could color all of the circles yellow, and one could be bright blue. That would give it emphasis. Or you could use green on all the circles, but one of them is not colored in. It's like has lines going through it. So something that gives it emphasis. Then I didn't provide the shapes on the next two for you. You have to come up with those on your own. So how could you create emphasis in a group of shapes? Could you have all shapes, like you have a square, a triangle, and a rectangle, but the rectangle is bright blue and the rest of them are pink? Or maybe you have a bunch of triangles and but one's a circle, or maybe you have a bunch of tiny triangles, but one's really big. So you have to kind of decide there. And then the last one is how can you create emphasis with value? Once again, value is the lightness or darkness of a color. So you could have 3 triangles and 2 are really lightly colored, and then you could have 1 triangle that's really darkly colored. Okay, so go ahead and pause on page 3, and you can complete page 3 at your own pace, and then keep going on the video when you're done. So what we're going to do for our project is I just want to show this to you really quickly, and then we'll talk more about it when I get back tomorrow, is you're going to have a photograph of a fruit or vegetable. So for example, here's a raspberry, but we're going to put emphasis on it, and we're going to zoom in and we're going to emphasize one part of it. And we're going to do a colored pencil drawing. So here's the photograph, and here was the student's artwork from last year. This is not mine. This was the students from last year. So as you can see, we're going to do a colored pencil drawing. We're going to take emphasis of a certain piece of a fruit or vegetable, and you're going to do a drawing of it. All right. So we'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, but I just kind of wanted to show you what we're going to do. All right. So your goal for today is to get through pages 1 through 3 in your sketchbook. And then you have time to work on your sketchbook today. Please make sure you're using your time wisely, and I will see you tomorrow.